Okay, so Garbage Pail Kids was initially a trading card series in the 1980s that served as a parody to the Cabbage Patch Kids. And if you don't know what Cabbage Patch Kids are, they were these dolls in the 1980s and they became a huge fad for some reason. My cousins actually both had them, and since they're a lot older than me, when they got older, their toys were all kind of handed down to me. A lot of it was actually some cool stuff, like Transformers and the original Star Wars action figures from the 70s that my dog ended up eating. But when I got the Cabbage Patch doll, I didn't really see what the big deal was. I mean, it's just a doll. It was probably around 1990 at that point, so I had all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures in the world. So, like, what am I gonna do with this thing? So, as usual, let's take a look at the poster for this waste of film. Now, the poster actually looks alright, I have to say. If you didn't know any better, you might actually be kinda curious just by looking at this. Now, at the top here, we have Out of the Garbage Pail and Into Your Heart. Well, that's just weird. I mean, this is definitely not a feel-good movie at all. It's not heartwarming in the slightest. As an audience member, you won't feel anything for these characters. There's no love in this movie. And this is my favorite bit right here. A live-action heap of fun. Well, it's definitely a heap of something, and I can assure you, fun is not it. Now, you know you're in for a real treat when the movie starts off with a Topps chewing gum production. So there's this kind of garbage pail spaceship thing, and I guess it lands on Earth and somehow ends up in this antique shop. I don't know, we never really see how that happens, but it just ends up inside there, I guess. Now we have this scene where this kid is being chased down by Johnny Cage for some reason, and it's pretty confusing at first. I mean, kid being chased down by some oddly dressed people during the middle of the day in a playground, so already nothing really seems to make sense. So they run into, I guess this is the rest of the gang, and this guy's the leader, hence the blazer and cigarette. Anyways, the leader, who looks kind of like a cheesy 1980s Zac Efron, along with his henchman Wally, turn the kid upside down, steal his money, and throw him into the mud, and nobody says anything. This is broad daylight in the middle of a park, and there's people around, obviously, so everybody's just cool with it. Nobody's gonna raise a concern. This is totally normal. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I saw this situation occurring, I would be forced to intervene. Just looking at it, I could draw the conclusion that whatever is going on, most likely non-consensual.
Those are my kind of guys. Real psychos.
Stuff it, Blythe. Juice is mine.
Wait, I'm sorry. His name is Juice? Okay, I'm just gonna run you through the names of the characters in this scene. Okay, we have Dodger, Wally, Blythe, Juice, and Tangerine. You know, at this point while I was watching the movie, I was becoming more and more certain that we're gonna have a show here. So Dodger works at the antique shop where the garbage pail ended up, and it's owned by this guy, Manzini, a name that sounds like a piece of male swimwear that should never be worn in public. Anyways, Manzini puts Dodger's clothes into an old washing machine, says a spell, and the thing just turns on by itself. Wow, I mean, you gotta give the guy credit for trying to run a business while having magic powers at the same time. If I had magic powers, I would never work again. I could just use my powers to get people to work for me. I'd be a pretty evil magician. I'll be honest, I would probably use the magic powers to just steal money. You could just come up with a spell on the spot, like zip, zop, shippity shank, give me all the money in this bank. Okay, well that sounds more like a Dr. Seuss adaptation of The Town, but you know what? It doesn't matter. The point is that I would be using my magic powers to get rich, and this guy is using them to operate a washing machine. But you know what? Now that I think about it, that's kind of cool because, I mean, every time I want to use the washing machine, it costs me $1. Come on. So anyways, the gang comes in and just starts assaulting Dodger, which I really don't understand. I mean, why are they doing this? What is Juice's problem with this kid?
But the little creep's gotta be taught a lesson. It's a matter of principle.
Again, what lesson? What did he do to you in the first place? That's what I want to know. To our knowledge, this kid has done nothing to you. The movie starts with you robbing him. And really, what could he have done? Did he make fun of the way you guys dress? Did he hurt your feelings? So Juice tells Wally to get Dodger, and somehow he distracts Wally with a basketball. I mean, wow, check out those skills. After a bunch of clumsy fighting and dodging, the garbage pail falls off the shelf and spills open. And I gotta say, if Manzini was so concerned with the garbage pail being opened, then why didn't he find some way to try and seal the lid? You mean to tell me you don't have any glue kicking around the store somewhere? Is it too hard for you to conjure up a spell for some duct tape? So they take Dodger outside and Juice just points to the sewer. And he does this a lot in the movie. I guess it's supposed to demonstrate his power, even though it just makes him look like an idiot. Anyways, they throw Dodger into the sewer and open a pipe so that it covers him in sewage. Luckily, the garbage pail kids come and rescue him and wake him up by farting. Now, Dodger, for some reason, has a crush on Tangerine and helps her sell her clothes. I don't know, apparently she's really popular in the club scene. I mean, everyone just rushes outside to see her. It's either that or they just can't stand the music.
Here I stand, just one man, so small in the universe, but here on earth, I'm a big man.
So Juice shows up, so Dodger is forced to hide in Tangerine's bag, and then after they leave is forced to walk all the way home, which I gotta think is gonna be a pretty long walk because they arrived at the nightclub at night and they started driving there during the day. Anyways, he gets back to the store and I guess the garbage pail kids want to help him win over Tangerine by making him clothes to wear to impress her. And I gotta ask, I mean, where is this kid's family? Is anybody concerned for his well-being? Because so far it seems like he's just at this antique shop whenever he's not getting his ass kicked. Are his parents just sitting at home like, you know, I wonder where Dodger is. I haven't seen him in a while. Oh, he's probably just hanging out at that antique shop with that guy who calls himself Captain Manzini. Sure, everything's fine. So anyways, Dodger goes to visit Tangerine, and luckily Juice doesn't see him because I guess he doesn't have peripheral vision. Dodger just walks in wearing this ridiculous jacket, and she loves it for some reason. She tells him to make a dozen outfits, and then starts giving him attitude when he tells her he's not sure if he can do that. What do you think? You think this kid has all the time in the world to be making Michael Jackson clothes? He has priorities, Tangerine, like his job at the antique shop or going to school, I'm assuming. Or maybe doing chores for the family that we've never seen in the house that they would theoretically live in.
Dodger, be careful! Look out for Juice!
I'm too happy to die.
Is that? Oh. Is that how it works? Really? Well, come on, man. We gotta start spreading the word here. Let's start telling all the inmates on death row. You know, hey, when they strap you into the electric chair and throw the switch, as long as you're thinking happy thoughts, you'll be okay. So Dodger tells the garbage pail kids that they gotta make him all these outfits, and they just abruptly break out into song. It's very awkwardly cut.
Why should we do something nice? Let's quit now, that's my advice. We can't do anything by working with each other.
And I also like how their lips don't even sync to what they're saying sometimes. I don't understand what's going on here. In the song, Greaser Greg and Alligator keep talking about how they don't want to do it, but they just go along with it anyways. I mean, there's no point in the song where they change their minds or anything like that. Anyways, the plan is to break into a sweatshop, which seems to be extremely easy for them to do, and just take a bunch of sewing machines. Now, throughout the movie, Nat Nerd is shown peeing his pants multiple times, but in this shot, the stream is obviously coming from outside the pants. And this happens a few times in the movie. I mean, is he just standing there, dong out, peeing in front of everybody? Anyways, then a bunch of crap happens. It's really long and pointless. I don't know. They sneak into the movies and just make a mess. It takes forever. None of it's funny. And I love how they think that these are great disguises. Yes, a trench coat and some sunglasses. That outfit will be sure to hide your giant heads or this one's alligator face. I mean, who could ever see through this masterwork of trickery? Now, at this point in the movie, Dodger and Manzini decide to go look for the friends of the Garbage Pail Kids. So they're looking around for a place for ugly people to go. I'm serious, they're just going out on the street and looking for some designated place to put ugly people. Because that's where they gotta be. And apparently that seems to be the job of these two security guards, catching ugly people. Now, you shouldn't really be surprised by this. I mean, the 80s were a crazy time. The cocaine, the music, the clothes, the people with giant nets running around capturing all the ugly people. I mean, what kind of city is this? How is this somebody's job? All right, Johnson, you're a good cop, but you're being reassigned. The mayor wants to get rid of all the ugly people, so you and Tim over there are gonna drive around with a giant butterfly net and wrangle up all the uglies. Get them up off the street. Because we just can't stand to look at them anymore. I mean, driving into work now, almost impossible. And then we just cut to Dodger and Tangerine selling their clothes to a bunch of drunk people in a cheesy montage.
It feels lousy, abandoning my principles for money.
Principles?
Yeah, letting the little creep live.
Again, why do you want to murder this kid? Oh, right, the principal. How could I forget about Juice and his principles? So Dodger is talking to Tangerine and suddenly the Garbage Pail Kids run outside to them for just no reason at all, except to give the screenwriter a cheap way to introduce them to Tangerine. So Tangerine wants to see them making clothes, and we get yet another cheesy montage. And that's what I'm thinking this movie is really all about now. Just making clothes by setting up a sweatshop with a bunch of trolls from space. So Tangerine gets a fashion show for some reason. I guess selling all those clothes to drunk people really struck a chord in the fashion scene. Meanwhile, the gang breaks into the antique store by knocking out Manzini with, I don't know, compressed air, I guess. So they manage to kidnap each one of the Garbage Pail Kids and take them to the home of the ugly, where apparently they pay you for bringing in ugly people. And I'm just curious, who makes the judgment call on if someone is ugly enough to be committed to this place? These guys? That's rich. And inside this place, we have all types of people locked up in cages. We have too old, too bald. We also have too hairy, too pale, too silly. Don't know what that has to do with being ugly, but... Oh, and then we have too crippled. Wow, that's in the movie. Hey, they probably should have thrown in the writer of this movie in this scene as well. Slapped on a label. Too inept to write a screenplay. And then they imply that they're gonna kill all of these people? What kind of town is this? I mean, just imagine the tourism campaign for this place. Well, there's lots to do here. We got a park, we got bars, antique shops, a movie theater that plays old episodes of the Three Stooges. And if we don't like the way you look, we'll probably kill you. So at this point, Dodger finds out that Tangerine betrayed him, and he's obviously very upset. I don't know, if it was me, I'd probably be more upset about that bow tie, but whatever. So they throw him into the dumpster, and again, I don't understand any of this shit. Why are they doing this again? Aren't they making money off of the clothes that he's providing to them? So Manzini wakes up, obviously still really groggy from all that compressed air. Finds out that the kids are missing, and I guess he just assumes they're in the home for the ugly. And then he gets kicked out. I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, he's a magician, right? So you mean to tell me that he was just powerless against the guards? He couldn't conjure up some spell to get them out of there? Or do all of his powers just solely lie with doing laundry? You know, I'm actually surprised they didn't lock him up in there too for being too terrible of a magician.
Iconoclastic, rebellious, original. Her clothes will make us think.
Yes, they will. For example, this outfit makes me think, was everybody just insanely high on coke in the 80s? So Manzini makes his way into the ugly prison, and how exactly? We didn't see him go through a back door of any sort, we just see him emerge from behind some boxes. And I love how there's this crazy thunderstorm going on outside, which is accompanied by an organ, as if Dracula is gonna show up at any minute. So Manzini actually uses some of his magic to finally do something. Again, don't know why he didn't do this in the first place, but whatever. Dodger asks Manzini what happened to all the other children, and Manzini just tells him that they were too late and they were taken away in a garbage truck. What the hell is he talking about? What other children? Are they talking about the friends of the Garbage Pail Kids that they were searching for earlier in the movie? And we never saw them at any point? Oh, they got taken away in the garbage truck. They're gone. They're murdered. Yeah, that's nice. So now they crash the fashion show and rip all the clothes off all the models, and Dodger fights Juice, which I have to say, these few seconds here are probably the most exciting part of the movie, because this kid finally gets revenge on this asshole, but then it's all ruined when Dodger starts crying and leaves. It's actually kind of funny. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's totally worth it. I mean, if some guy stole my money, threw me into a sewer, covered me in sewage, just constantly tried to kick my ass, I would take a lot of pleasure in just beating the shit out of him. I'm not even afraid to say that. Who wouldn't? Back at the antique shop, Tangerine apologizes to Dodger.
I'm sorry. Me too. Look, the fashion show's a big success.
Really? This is what you would consider a success? Having a bunch of trolls storm into your fashion show, rip everyone's clothes off, and fart on your audience? That's a success to you. I'm just curious. If that's a success, then what would you consider to be a failure?
No thanks. I don't think you're pretty anymore.
I have to say, I gotta give the kid props for that one. Now, Manzini thinks that by playing the Garbage Pail Kids song backwards, I guess they have a theme song now, it will get them sucked back into the pail, but instead they just escape from the store while his eyes are closed, and that's really just the end of this horrendous piece of garbage. Now, this movie is just one of the most frustrating things I've ever watched. It just seems like a bunch of random stuff thrown together. Like, you could take the Garbage Pail Kids out of this movie and it would actually probably make the movie better. And throughout the movie, I just think it's hilarious that Dodger at no point questions who the Garbage Pail Kids are, where they're from. It's just, hey, these things came out of a garbage pail and these are their names. And he's just like, oh yeah. Just summarizing this movie sounds like the most ridiculous thing ever. A magic garbage pail comes from space and ends up in an antique shop owned by a kind of magician. The kid that works there is constantly picked on by a gang for just no apparent reason. He then falls in love with a girl from the gang and gets the horrific children from the space garbage can to make a bunch of clothes to impress her. And then he saves the alien kids from being executed by the state for being too ugly and ruins a fashion show. That's really all this movie is. And it's funny how each of the Garbage Pail Kids has kind of an identifying characteristic, but they never get to use that to their advantage at all. You'd think that would happen at some point in this movie. You'd think that each one of them at some point in the movie would get to utilize their individual traits to help with the situation at hand, but no, that never happens in the movie. Except at the end where, I don't know, Valerie vomits on the bad guys and Wendy farts on some people. Now, I don't know if this is exactly true, but on the Wikipedia page, it was talking about how they were thinking about rebooting this movie. And you know what? Good. Please do it. I'm always looking for material for this show, so go ahead. I'll be here waiting. Hopefully.